I was thinking about this earlier today and I thought I'd share. So, you guys know that I had a travel day recently where I traveled for 14 hours and 46 minutes, and how my flight got canceled, and just like that, with no warning, no nothing, it was just canceled. So, I decided to drive, and somewhere on the road, something happened that I just figured, well, you know what, I need to bring this back to my codependency recovery community. Now, when I drive, I travel intentionally. I'm very intentional about where I stop and what I do. And I'm not just pulling off at whatever exit is closest because it's convenient. I actually want to find something real and relatable to me, a small business that I can support, like a restaurant that feels like, okay, this is where I actually belong, or a gas station that is rooted deep in the community that I'm passing through. So it gives me a little bit of story about where I'm at, or, the community itself, not just a highway stop. I want to feel the heartbeat of wherever I am. So I did my research and I found this restaurant that was on Google. So I decided to drive into the community to get there, and just get off the interstate and go deeper. And as soon as I pulled up to this place, it was closed. It was out of business. And I guess Google hadn't updated their site yet, letting, people know that the business was no longer. So I just sat there for a moment. And then it hit me, this is exactly what deep work feels like. You research, you prepare, you make the intentional choice to go further than what's easy and familiar. And sometimes, you pass those convenient exits on purpose and you go deep, deep, deeper. And even though you go deeper, sometimes you may find a blockage. And the blockage may represent for me the business being out of business, the closed business. But that doesn't mean that the work was wasted. It means that you keep moving. And that's exactly what I did. I kept moving. I headed back toward the interstate. Still in that community, just still taking it in, reading signs, looking around, just headed back to the interstate. And then that's when I saw him. That's where I saw this gentleman by the name of Alan that I felt, learned after speaking with him. He was set up in a vacant lot. It was right at the intersection, of Ward Boulevard and Tarboro Street in Wilson, North Carolina. It's the site of the former Wilson Mall. He was just out there doing his thing. So if you guys are anywhere in this area and you know who he is, let him know that I'm giving him a shout out in my on my channel. But he was out there, he was selling watermelons. Now let me tell you something about me. I am from the dirty South, okay? I am Geechee, and you probably hear it in my dialect often. But watermelon is not new to me. I grew up with watermelon. We used to grow watermelon. My family knows watermelon, okay? So I am not easy to impress when it comes to the watermelon. But I stopped anyway. And this man, he said, I want you to just pick any one that you want. And I'm going to cut it open right here so you can see exactly what you're getting. And he gave me samples from two different watermelons. And I am not exaggerating when I tell you that this was some of the best watermelon I have had in a decade. Sweet does not even begin to cover it. Okay. It was amazing. I was just standing there in that vacant lot like, oh my gosh, this is good. And this man is out here with something special and the world needs to know about it. So that's why I'm telling all of you about it. So if you were ever in the Wilson, North Carolina area, go find him, please. He is set up at the intersection of Ward Boulevard and Tarboro Street, Tarboro. I think that's how it's spelled, Tarboro Street. It's like I said, it's the former Wilson Mall lot. And so I'll put all of this in the description. But anyway, please support him. That man deserves every bit of it. But back to what I was saying. Here's what I really need you to sit with. I only found him because I went deeper, because I did not take the easy exit, because I kept moving after the door I had planned for turned out to be closed. Okay. I planned to go to a restaurant, but I found this jewel of a watermelon seller, instead. And if I had just pulled off the highway like everybody else, I would have missed him completely. And that is the message. That is what codependency recovery actually looks like in real life. It's not always going to hand you exactly what you planned for. Sometimes you do everything right and the door is still closed. Sometimes you run into that business that is out of business and you didn't know it. Sometimes the thing you prepared for is gone by the time you get there. And in that moment, everything in you wants to turn around. It wants you to go back to what's familiar and take the exit that you already know. But I don't want you to do that, because the treasure does not live on the highway, meaning that the treasure is not convenient. It's not just right there. It lives deeper. It lives past the convenient stops and the closed businesses, past the moment where people turn around. It's sitting right there in a vacant lot waiting for somebody willing to keep going long enough to find it. That's what the work is. That is what I want for you. I want you to learn to go deeper. And then when you feel like going deeper is just wasting your time, I want you to realize, nope, it's not wasting my time. There's still something here. And that's how it was for me when I went off the beaten path and I wanted to find a restaurant that was no longer there. I still found something just as great, just as well. And if you're ready to stop taking the easy exits and do the real deep work, I would love to walk that road with you. I'm a certified professional life coach specializing in codependency recovery, and I offer 2 ways to work with you. And I have those 2 ways down in my description. I'll even put it in the comments for you. But yeah, that's it. That's the story. I'm just happy to be able to connect with you guys. And just always remember, it's not rejection, it's alignment. I'm Coach Valerie, and I'll talk to you later.